random or piecemeal incidents. They are clearly organized, they are clearly orchestrated, standardized and institutionalized. It is followed by a consistent and continuous trawling process. And the intention of this trawling process is to extend, to encourage and be endorsed directly by BJP netas and their supporters. And the objective is a chilling effect on the judiciary. A gagging effect on the judiciary, that is the objective. It doesn't happen is a different matter, but the objective is that to demoralize, to pressurize and to terrorize the judiciary. And I'll give you some very, very clear examples of this shortly, but let me start by telling you that a lot of this helps the digressive agenda of the BJP, because they know that on all issues which matter to the nation and to the common man, they are struggling to find answers. They have failed on several fronts, and when you cannot give answers on issues of unemployment, galloping inflation, and one of the most serious divisions and distrust of society ever seen in independent India, then you have to turn to such gimmickry to kind of find answers. Friends, in the recent past has clearly not been a good past or a good week for the BJP. They tried to avoid being in the remotest manner commenting on the Udaipur heinous murder. And then it turned out that the accused there was a card-carrying member of the BJP. Imagine they are today trolling judges, and here you have a card-holding and a card-carrying member of the BJP. Just a few days after that, that is a few days away from today, the LET terrorist was also found to have been a member in Kashmir of the BJP. But not merely a member, but also a leader and a head of the IT cell, the man in charge of the IT cell. It is a remarkable thing that they get away with these slogans and sermonizings about nationalism and patriotism with this kind of material right in their own backyard. A channel known for its pro-BJP proclivities, known with a large following in Hindi also, was not only booked for carrying fake news, blatantly distorting what Rahul Gandhi ji had said, but they admitted it and apologized for it also, although belatedly. But the moment follow-up action is taken by appropriate police authorities on official complaints filed, the BJP propaganda machine, the BJP's powerfully controlled and puppet police regimes jump into service to obstruct, which is what happened when the Chhattisgarh police was obstructed by the UP police, to act in a manner where the anchor and the television channel had already noted its error and purported to apologize. They are therefore absolute artists that when their own are booked for right things, you know how to obstruct, and otherwise you will unleash diverse agencies on innocent people. Then of course came the Nupur Sharma thing. Now I want to make one thing clear here, and having something to do with law, I think I can add to your perception of this. Whenever any litigant, I or he or anybody goes to the Supreme Court, seeking the beneficial jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, seeking the beneficial protection of the Supreme Court, that litigant, he or she, runs the risk of the Supreme Court not only dismissing that plea, but in the interactive process of dismissal, making comments and observations about the reasons for its dismissal. This is all that happened in the Nupur Sharma case. Nupur Sharma invoked the beneficial jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said we don't agree with you, and in the course of that made comments, made observations. And if you don't like Supreme Court observations, you have no business to take the risk of invoking the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in the first place. And therefore, what the Supreme Court did, no more, no less, is what is done every day in countless cases which the Supreme Court may dismiss. And they have every right to make comments or observations. And certainly there is always at least one litigant who does not agree with it. I may lose, he may win, he may lose, I may win. And you have to accept it. You can even constructively criticize the judgment. I am going that far. But then, what does the BJP do? Merely because the subject in question is their own spokesperson, all hell breaks loose. The entire machinery of trollers, of bots, as you know, bots enhance the number of social media posts. The entire army of motivated, vicious trollers is activated. For whom? For the great and grand Nupur Sharma. And the victim is the Supreme Court. The perpetrator is eulogized and the adjudicator is made the victim. If you have seen even 1/10 of the trolls, you will realize that you cannot use such vicious language even in your political discourse or on the street. Leave aside for Supreme Court judges. They attacked the bench, they attacked them viciously, they deployed hundreds of trollers to spread fake news, to manufacture photographs and images, decrying judicial system, making innuendos, making insinuations. This is the true Chal Charitra and Chehra of this ruling party. Then the Honorable Prime Minister's office, with his blessings of that office, organized yet another orchestrated, coordinated letter by so-called intellectuals to condemn whom? Not Nupur Sharma, to condemn the judges. This is absolutely condemnable what they did, not what the honorable judges observed. And let me tell you, hardly 1 year ago, certain judgments had seemingly come in favor of the BJP. And what is sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. When those judgments came seemingly in favor of the BJP, I have the actual date and the statements of Honorable Shri Ravi Shankar Prasad, the then Law Minister, who said that when judgments are not suitable to you, people are organized to attack judges. This is the then Law Minister saying so last year. Well, now the chickens have come home to roost. Now the matter has become full circle. Just because today it is an inconvenient truth that the person involved is Nupur Sharma, all these homilies which were given to us by the BJP and its ministers are now forgotten. They are all silent. At that time there was the official speech given by the law officers then and of course by the law minister. But they are all silent. Their silence is pregnant with meaning. Friends, this has become a pattern. Just a few days ago in your own home state where you are sitting, I was amazed to hear a senior judge of the Karnataka High Court very categorically talking about the kind of pressures which he is facing merely because he has shown truth to power. Merely because in an adjudicatory function he has found grave, unpardonable acts and omissions by functionaries of the, in this case of the ACB, the Anti-Corruption Bureau. If this can happen to sitting judges, You can imagine what can happen to political opponents. You can imagine what can happen to social activists. You can imagine what can happen to ordinary people whom the BJP does not like. We are talking of constitutional functionaries being treated with scant regard and respect. Zero. And finally, friends, I want to end by saying we are not the one who are going to let these things rest. We are going to follow this and expose the BJP for its complete hypocrisy, for subverting institutions of constitutional governance, for subverting the pillars of our democracy. We are in the process of writing to the Chief Justice of India, seeking a special committee to look upon these orchestrated attacks on the judicial system, and in this case the Supreme Court of India. And we will end, friends, by asking the basic questions all over again. Although I know that my questions fall on deaf ears, we shall not hesitate to embarrass the ruling party and its functionaries by asking these questions. Where the first question has to be that in this country of 1 billion voices, by scaring or trying to scare judges, by overawing civil servants, by subverting institutions, how many of these 1 billion voices can you silence, and will you manage to silence? In this country, which is the world's largest democracy and proud of its constitutional structure, how many institutions will you try and subvert? And how long will you hide these grave misdemeanors under digressive tactics of divisiveness and distrust? दोस्तों, मैं बहुत संक्षेप में हिंदी में आपको संबोधित कर दूं, बहुत संक्षेप में. मैं क्षमा चाहता हूं कि मैं आपसे कन्नड़ में बात नहीं कर सकता. देखिए, ये जो आप देख रहे हैं सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी द्वारा इस प्रकार से एक आक्रमण न्यायपालिका पे, समझा बूझा सोचा समझा प्लान किया हुआ, हर तरह से कोऑर्डिनेटेड किया हुआ और संस्थापित आक्रमण, ये दयनीय है, भर्त्सना योग्य है और इसको हम कड़ी से कड़े शब्दों में निंदा करते हैं. इसका उद्देश्य और मंतव्य एक है कि ये जो झूठी बेमानी फौज है बीजेपी और परिवार की, जिसको आप सोशल मीडिया फौज कह लीजिए, जिसको आप ट्रोलिंग फौज कह लीजिए, इनका उद्देश्य है कि सच को झूठ कर देना और झूठ को सच कर देना. इनका उद्देश्य है कि आपको भयभीत करना. इस केस में न्यायपालिका के उच्चतम न्यायालय के जजेस को डरा के रखना, दबाना, उन पे दुष्प्रभाव करना और इस प्रकार से अपना उल्लू सीधा करना, उनको दबा धमका और प्रेशराइज करके, आतंकित करके अपना उल्लू सीधा करना, जैसा कि उन्होंने बहुत हद तक प्रेस के साथ किया है, अन्य संस्थाओं के साथ किया है, कार्यपालिका के कई संस्थाओं के साथ किया है और इस बार मैं समझता हूं सबसे भर्त्सना योग्य उच्चतम न्यायालय के संदर्भ में. दोस्तों, ये पिछले कुछ हफ्ते हम जानते हैं बीजेपी के ऐसे कई कारनामे एक्सपोज हुए हैं. राहुल गांधी केरला के विषय में बोल रहे हैं और इसी फौज ने, इसी बेमानी झूठी फौज ने उसको तोड़ फोड़ कर, ट्विस्ट करके उदयपुर के संदर्भ में चला दिया. आपके सामने, आपके आंखों के सामने इतनी बड़ी लेक्चरबाजी करते हैं और आपके सामने ही हो रहा है. उसके बाद कई घंटों के बाद, हमारे नोटिसों के बाद, जब उन्होंने माफी मांगी तो उसके बावजूद बीजेपी के उच्च स्तरीय नेताओं ने उस माफी के बाद भी यही चीज चलाते रहे. उनमें से एक पूर्व मंत्री भी हैं. इसके अलावा आप जानते हैं कि एक आतंकवादी संस्था एलईटी, जो कश्मीर में एक व्यक्ति पकड़ा गया, उसको उनके आईटी विभाग का एक उच्च पदाधिकारी मालूम हुआ कि वहाँ का एक उच्च पदाधिकारी है। उदयपुर में जो व्यक्ति संबंधित था इससे, वो बीजेपी का एक ऑफिस बेरर था, और अंतिम उसमें कड़ी में आया नुपुर शर्मा का केस। अब मैं स्पष्ट कर देना चाहता हूं कि ये लोग जो ट्रोलिंग कर रहे हैं, जो जानते नहीं है न कानून, न प्रशासन, न नीतिगत व्यवहार, न नैतिक मूल्य, उनको इतना पता होना चाहिए कि जब मैं या कोई व्यक्ति किसी न्यायालय के दरवाजे को दस्तक देता है तो वो साथ साथ ये रिस्क भी रखता है, ये बात भी का उसको संज्ञान होना चाहिए कि जब वो कोर्ट के दरवाजे पे दस्तक देता है तो कोर्ट उसकी याचिका को निरस्त करने, अस्वीकार करने की प्रक्रिया में वो सब कारण मौखिक रूप से दे सकती है जिससे वो उसके याचिका को स्वीकार नहीं कर रही। सिर्फ ये हुआ उस दिन, जो उच्चतम न्यायालय हजारों सैकड़ों केसेस में दिन प्रतिदिन करता है। उन्होंने नुपुर शर्मा की याचिका को नहीं माना और उसको नहीं मानने के कई कारण मौखिक रूप से दिए। इसमें कोई भी आपत्ति कोई कर नहीं सकता। अगर आपको इतनी तकलीफ है तो आप फिर उच्चतम न्यायालय जाते क्यों हैं? लेकिन और कोई आम पार्टी होती, जिम्मेवार पार्टी होती, सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी होती, तो क्या वो क्या करती? वो स्वीकार करती, वो तुरंत एक्शन लेती, वो कहती कि हम बहुत ही शर्मनाक हैं कि हमारे एक व्यक्ति को उच्चतम न्यायालय ने ऐसी चीज़ें बताई हैं और हम इसके ऊपर तुरंत एक्शन लेंगे। लेकिन नहीं, ये बीजेपी है, ये बेशर्म भी है और बेइलाज भी है। उन्होंने सिर्फ इसलिए कि ये व्यक्ति नुपुर शर्मा है, लाखों की तादाद पे ट्रोल्स और सोशल मीडिया की फौज को बाहर छोड़ दिया, और इसलिए छोड़ा बताने के लिए कि भाई ये नुपुर शर्मा की गलती नहीं है, ये तो उच्चतम न्यायालय के न्यायाधीशों की गलती है। आप सोचिए कि जो न्यायाधीश हैं वो कटघरे में खड़े हो गए और नुपुर शर्मा कटघरे में खड़ी नहीं हुई। इस पार्टी के अनुसार उन्होंने लाखों पोस्ट लगाए, ट्रोल किया, गाली गलौज की, नीचा दिखाया, अवमानना की, एब्यूज किया, और उसके बाद जैसा कि बार बार किया जाता है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री के ऑफिस से कोऑर्डिनेट करके कई लोगों से चिट्ठी लिखवाई गई उन जजेस के विरुद्ध कि ऐसे जजेस गलती में हैं। ये कौन सी लक्ष्मण रेखा है, कौन सा राजधर्म है, हम नहीं जानते, हम नहीं समझ पाते। और मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि पिछले वर्ष की बात ही है कि एक लॉ ऑफिसर, बड़े वरिष्ठ और तब के कानून मंत्री श्री रविशंकर प्रसाद ने, जबकि कुछ निर्णय बीजेपी के पक्ष में गए थे, तो कहा था कि इन निर्णयों के ऊपर टिप्पणी भी कोई कर दे तो ये तो एक अलग अभियान है, ये कैसे हो सकता है, और लोगों को एक अलग नैरेटिव नहीं करना चाहिए जब उच्चतम न्यायालय निर्णय देती है। ये वक्तव्य है, छपा हुआ वक्तव्य 2021 का, और मैं उसी के आधार पे याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि यही लोग, यही बीजेपी आज चुप्पी साधी है उन वक्तव्यों के ऊपर। और अंत में मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि इस प्रकार के दुष्प्रभाव और एक वातावरण बनाना न्यायपालिका के लिए ये चल रहा है दिन प्रतिदिन। क्योंकि मुझे अचंभा हुआ कि 2 दिन पहले आपके खुद के प्रदेश कर्नाटक में एक उच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश ने जो दुष्प्रभाव की विवरण किया है वो चौंका देने वाला है, गंभीर है, भर्त्सना योग्य है और बहुत दुखद प्रसंग है। चूंकि उन्होंने अपने कर्तव्य के परायण में किसी संस्था के बारे में टिप्पणी की, एंटी करप्शन ब्यूरो, तो इस प्रकार का उनके साथ व्यवहार होना जो उन्होंने वर्णित किया है, मैं नहीं समझता कि कोई भी शर्मनाक चीज़ इससे ज़्यादा शर्मनाक हो सकती है। दोस्तों, मैं आपको धन्यवाद देते हुए अपनी बात ख़त्म करता हूँ ये बोल के कि हम इस बात को यहाँ अंत नहीं होने देंगे। हमने ये घोषणा की है कि हम माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के सर्वोच्च न्यायाधीश चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया को विस्तृत रूप से लिखेंगे कि इस प्रकार के आक्रमण, इस प्रकार के डराने धमकाने की यंत्र तंत्र के ऊपर वो बहुत गंभीर विचार करके तुरंत बहुत कठोर एक्शन लें। और हम बीजेपी को ये याद दिलाते हुए आपसे वार्तालाप अंत करते हैं कि कब तक कितने लाखों लोगों की आवाज़ वो बंद करेंगे, कब तक कितनी संस्थाओं को वो दबाएगी। और आज आपने न्यायपालिका का एक उदाहरण देखा है, लेकिन ये दयनीय इसलिए है कि कटघरे में खड़ा कोई और था और उनको जो जज कर रहे थे उनको कटघरे में खड़े कर दिया गया। धन्यवाद।
Sir, you mentioned about the Karnataka judge. Sir, there is a complaint filed with Registrar General by one gentleman named Mr. Girish VHP against Rahul Gandhi for using proceedings of the video, saying that it's a contempt of the court. The video should not have been used. They have filed a complaint.
This is the contrast between the divine and the comic. This is what they say: ignore the message. Either shoot the messenger or talk about the video link. Ignore the issue which the judge is raising. Ignore the anti-corruption issue. Ignore the threats to the judge. But talk about the video link. I would request that gentleman to file a complaint against Rahul Gandhi. I would like to see it, and I'd be very happy if he does it. He's only destroying his own credibility and that of the party to which he belongs.
So there is another controversy raging about this Kali movie, sir. Moreover, a case has been booked against Mohua Moitra, and Shashi Tharoorji has also come in support of her. What is yours?
No, I would not like to comment about other persons of other parties, their comments, but I do believe that balance must be maintained in that the symbols, the essence of our faith, the heart and spirit of our culture cannot be trivialized by anyone, anywhere, be it elsewhere, abroad or here. And therefore I think people must be very careful before they play with the emotions of people which are reflected in such symbols, in such culture, in such faith. And I think those who organize this visual showing of one of our most respected goddesses should have thought many times over. As far as the political name you are concerned, I am not here to comment on that. That belongs to a different party and they have already commented their view on that.
So recently the BJP has tweeted about the Siddaramaiah Utsav that's expected to happen. They say there's a cold war going on between Mr. D.K. Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah.
See, the press needs good fodder every day or every week, and I think this is nice to keep the TRP ratings boiling, but let me tell you, in the salubrious cool climate of Bangalore, there is absolutely no such heat. And you will find this with the well-oiled manner in which our machinery is moving forward, and you will find the results in the very near future.
Sir, there has been a pothole death in Thane in the road leading up to Mr. Eknath Shinde's residence. Now, while the legislators
what rate? I didn't get it.
In Thane, sir, there has been a pothole death. A motorist has died after running over a pothole. It leads to Mr. Eknath Shinde's house. The road near his house has been asphalted newly, but the roads leading up there hasn't, and this motorist has died. And you think that the legislators who are busy, in the resorts during this time?
No, I don't, I mean, such matters should not be politicized. It's a very sad thing for a person and for his family who has passed away. A pothole death is a pothole death, whether it is outside Mr. Shinde's house or outside my house or outside your house. So I don't think we need to bring this into the political field. What you must be concerned about is to deal with such potholes everywhere, irrespective of which government is running it, and irrespective of whether the state government is mine and the municipal corporation is yours. That is not the issue. But equally, to show sympathy and succor to such a person, I don't think we should bring in politics to this.
ಇದೆಯಾ ಏನಾದ್ರು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದ ಕೆಲವು ವಿಚಾರ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ವಿಚಾರ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಕ್ತಾಯ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಏನು ಹೇಳಿ.
ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಯಕರಿಗೆ ಕೆಪಿಸಿಸಿ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಶಾಸಕಾಂಗ
ಗಡುವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. 1 ತಿಂಗಳೊಳಗೆ ಕೋಲಾರ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆನ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಲೀಡರ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಮೆಂಬರು
ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಭ್ರಷ್ಟಾಚಾರದ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ 5-6 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ 10 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, 8-9 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಬಂದು. ಅವರು ಅಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಲೀಡ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬರೀ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪಾಪ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಬಂದಾಗ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಬಿಡಿ. ಅವ್ರ ಖುಷಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿ.
ದೇವನೂರು ಮಹಾದೇವ್ ಅವರು ಬರೆದಿರುವ RSS ಆಳ ಮತ್ತು ಅಗಳ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಯೋಜಿತ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಕೆಪಿಸಿಸಿ ಕಚೇರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೇವನೂರು ಮಹಾದೇವ್ ಅವರು ಹೆಸರು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ನೋಡಿ ಪಾಪ ಅವರೊಬ್ರು ಹಿರಿಯರು, ಚಿಂತಕರು, ಮೊದಲಿಂದನೂ ನೇರ ನುಡಿ, ನೇರ ಬರವಣಿಗೆಗೆ ಅವರು ತಂದೆ ಆದಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೀವೇನಾದ್ರು ಅವ್ರ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರನೇ ನೀವು ನೇರ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.